Well, something happened yesterday, and it's quite an unprecedented achievement for so many in Enugu, given that the much talked about Enugu Air, one of the planes, just landed at Akanobiam International Airport in Enugu, and there was this eruption of excitement in Enugu. I have with me on the phone this morning an expert in the aviation sector. He's been, on that space for more than 30 years, and I'm sure that he's going to give us an insight into this particular development. His name is Tony Wachuku. Tony, thank you so much for joining us. Is a welcome development for you, or it is one of those airlines that you see would come and go? We've seen Cali Air come and go. We've seen Imo Air come and go. Do you think that this particular one will go that way, given the status and the standing of the governor of this state, Peter Amba?
Well, it's a good development to see the airline Enugu Air as one of the aircraft. Aviation, by the way, commercial airline business is worth it. I believe that 3 months after the governor announced Enugu is Enugu as a state have adventured into commercial airline business. Yes, it's a government, and the actual economic investor have always been government, not private citizens. But citizens actually just participate. So for me, taking note that the aircraft landed, and also that the aircraft will go back. I don't think the aircraft for now have commenced business operations. Maybe they will do that shortly, in a matter of few weeks or months to come. But the critical thing is that the government told the citizens that the states have adventured into commercial airline business, and they have shown one of the equipment. And I believe that it has come to stay because when government diversified its interest in investment, the magic of taxation somewhat reduces. So having seen this too, I will also crave this opportunity to appeal to the governor too. So you have Enugu State used to own an oil refinery somewhere in Nachi that can be revived too. Enugu State used to own an aluminium company that can be revived too. And the Enugu State has a gas industry where it bottles gas, so it can be revived too. The Enugu marketing company can also be expanded to be larger than what it is. These are sources of revenue. Already too, I understand the government also is investing in or has invested in land transport, that's city bus transportation.
Yeah.
So these are all channels of earning revenues, and then would also will somewhat impact in the reduction by reducing the tax SMEs in Enugu pay.
All right,
So-
but then going by what we're seeing in the aviation sector, for you think is viable? There are people who have said that it's an elitist investment, and I mean, it's not so many persons who will be able to afford the airfare going out of Enugu. Do you think those people are justified with their thinking that, I mean, there are different things you can invest in. There are different things you could invest in. Train moves from one place to another. You could invest in transportation also. We have not finalized that one, especially for road
I
for
was coming to that. I was
so.
coming to that. I was coming to that. But remember that train investment is uh, is capital intensive. But the government also can still face the challenge. It depends. We can have monorails on the streets, just as we have the buses that will ply in the streets. On the what do you call the passage roads, we have a quite good number of passage roads in Enugu. So you can have monorails. It's just adjusting the roads and then fixing the rails, and then you bring the equipment in. As for the actual train, it is possible if the rules permit state governments to invest. For instance, Enugu, Abia, Enugu, Anambra can have jointly a rail transportation system. That means once you have a conducive, a functional, a proper functional transportation system, I don't believe that much that the airline or air travel is for the elitist. No, it's not true. It's the way you make your bed is the way you lie on it. Here, people think flying in the sky is an elitist thing. It is not. It's just about cost. It's just about cost. And then remember that many people prefer traveling by air just because journeys that can take 8 hours on the road and it takes just an hour in the air. So I don't see anything privileged about it or elitist about it. It's just that those who can afford it, because you know what it means to fuel an aircraft. So, but if you have more competitions, like in Enugu, you see you have airlines flying from Enugu to Lagos, Enugu to Abuja. That's the only route they can fly. That's the only route that where you have passenger patronage more. Otherwise, if you have Port Harcourt passengers, Enugu Air 2 can also do Enugu to Port Harcourt. It doesn't take about 10, 15, 20 minutes to get to Port Harcourt by air.
Right.
So I don't share the opinion that it is an elitist business. It's not an elitist business. It's just a business that the state felt could give money. After all, they did a survey. And then before they could arrive, the government doesn't behave like the individual.
Do you think it will be viable? Do you think the airplane run by a state government, even though if it is a public-private partnership, do you think it will be viable for Enugu State government?
Sure. What stops it from? Nothing stops it from flying or being it will stand the test of time. It's because, like you said, it's a public-private investigation. So it will take it will take time, but it will stabilize. You see, it's not a place you play games. It's not a business to which you play games in. You don't play games with a commercial airline business. You don't. If you play games, the business on its own will just show you the bigger game. It will collapse.
Right.
And don't forget that aviation requirements is much, especially when it comes to safety checks. And then the state, the state just display the aircraft. You have other things they need to do, which I believe they are working hard to do, because they need to provide insurance guarantees, for the processes.
What other things? What other things do they need to do? This showing doesn't it mean that in another maybe 1 month it will start flying? Or does it mean that this showing is just for politics' sake, just to have Enugu residents excited about it? What other things that needs to
No,
be
no,
done?
no, no. Enugu people, you see, there's something, it has nothing to do with the residents. It's just that the government said we are in this business and they have shown good faith that they are in the business. It's not an issue of they play, they show. No. It's an issue of interest. Like I told you, it's a good economic investition for the state. The state will earn uh, uh, um, uh, good income, profit income, if the business is managed. Aviation is not a business you say you are managing and you are abusing it. Like I said, in 1 second it will tumble, it will crumble. So I know this government will go for best minds because it's a professional business. You just know it or you don't know it. It's not a sector you say how you want to delve in because Mr. A is doing it. It's not true.
All
So
right, but you mentioned earlier that it is state government investment and they're willing to go the whole hog. We've seen other state government invest in airlines, and it felt like a pack of cards. We've seen Cali Air that didn't see the light of day. We saw Imo Air that didn't see the light of day. There were still government who wanted to go the whole hog in getting a state.
this thing that, like I said, it's like it's like uh, it's like how do I put it? Let me use a life entrepreneurship into that marriage. It's like marrying a woman, and then suddenly you discover that that kind of woman is not what you need. So, due to cost, really, commercial airline business is cost intensive, and I'm sure the government knows about it. The governor of Enugu State is aware of it. He's a business person. And then the feasibility study they did on that, the governor being a business person, he went through it. He discussed it with his aviation team, and then he was convinced. And then don't forget that governor don't make much mistakes. He doesn't make mistake. He's done not much. So he knows what it takes to do a business. And then I believe he was convinced, and that's why they are investing in the industry. Glad that Enugu have acquired their AOC, that is the Air Operational License.
Right.
And then they've leased equipment from what I had, the governor dropped four equipment, and then what is left is that it depends on the kind of lease they did. That's not my interest, whether it is wet or dry lease. So it depends on what they did.
What's the difference between wet and dry lease?
There are two different lease systems. One of the lease system, let me just give you the compound analysis. The compound information. It's a case where you are taking care of the entire crew members. You are providing that, and then you are making your returns to your lessor, or they are providing. You have understanding that you are providing the brand, but they are providing crew maintenance, everything. So it's not something I can go into details with because it's a government business. So it depends on what they did. But I know how an airline that is making profit in business will actually display or show itself if Enugu starts. Depends also on the route they are covering. If you have four equipment, you can do a lot of magic. You can cover a lot of routes. You can do regional flights with four equipment, depending. But what I saw on the picture I saw, I think it's a large aircraft. So if they have that fall. Definitely, there won't be much. This thing, they will do normal Enugu Lagos, do normal Enugu Abuja, and then do Lagos Abuja, Abuja Lagos. They can also do regional flights with foreign
Right.
equipment.
Okay. So how
But let me just say this: the experts he assembled, they know that these days in aviation that it's interline. It's what we call code sharing. If they enter into interline businesses with Airpeace has done that with Emirates. They can also explore that, but they need to start. They need to start once they're functional and operational, and then they have experts, which I believe they will. They are recruiting also people that will work in the industry. So I hope and I know it will be a good entrepreneur and revenue point for Enugu State.
Okay, so beyond it being a revenue hub for Enugu State, I mean, how significant is it for the economy, giving what the connecting flights that the flight's schedule will be like? We said we don't know what the schedule would look like, and the team that he has assembled, what exactly that I'm mentioning. What is the significance of this for the economy of Enugu State as a whole?
The significance of it is boom. It's boom. Don't forget that the government actually had this interest of lifting Enugu economy, and it's interesting. This is the first time I have seen a government leadership, think to give Enugu an economy, not just the normal secure IGR, spend it and things like that. So I believe it's significant, like you said, and also to which I'm contributing is that Enugu will have an expanded economy, and then they can handle their debts, and also you have a balance.
Right.
You have one of the things that dislodges the government is that where a government is constantly broke, and if a government is constantly broke, the government looks at look onto citizens to make provisions, and that creates high tax. So, and a responsible government cannot or may not wish to sustain that part. They want citizens to have a little break. Like if you visit Akwa Ibom State, the IGR in Akwa Ibom is not comparable to Enugu own. So the governor having done this too, and like I said, he's a businessman. Enugu should have also a petroleum company.
All right, but again, let me ask this: what do you think would be a drawback? What do you think the governor should look out for as a clog on the wheel to get this actualized? Because I mean, it's long overdue. He has been saying this way back from the last town hall meeting that he had. So now this is going to be April in a couple of days. What do you think are going to be the major drawbacks or the major challenges that he will face?
There's no drawback. I'm not seeing the drawback. The truth is that commercial airline operation is not like buying a car in a car shop and you are driving on the street. No, it's not like that. There are processes which they are undergoing. What they have done is that they may have taken delivery of the equipment they ordered. The equipments have to be here because the same equipments have to undergo flight hours, flight operational, whatever. What I mean by that is that the equipment they brought in, we will undergo a test. It's flight hour test, depending on what NCAA department responsible for that, the number of the hours it flies in a day, goes, come back, goes, come. So it's a process. There's a process which they must comply with. And they are complying with that. The critical thing the government has done is that the government has shown that the citizens that actually they have divested in the economy by what air transportation. They have learned what they call road transport, soon their buses by today is 29th, if I'm sure by 30th or 31st or April first week, depending the government buses. That is Enugu Transport Company buses will feed the streets and then commence road transportation. And also, that's a good business because I understand too that the buses will be doing interstate transport, and that's good money for the state. So I believe that the government have recruited good managers for that purpose,
right?
That is for the air and land transport. But if you don't see Enugu Air starting operation in the next week, just understand it that the equipment have to undergo flying test.
Right.
So if they have done that, I don't know, but I know they will do that. And then I remember also that they have issues like insurance and things like that to cover. So they have administrative grounds to cover so many of it. So they are working. But they have recruited their experts.
But by your estimation, how long will it take for the Enugu Air to come on board, for people to start booking and ticketing, and by your personal estimation, now that we've seen one aircraft landing at Akanu Biaman, 3 is still being expected?
I would like to provide an answer to that because I'm not part of the team that is.
No, but by your aviation, expertise, like this is what 29th of March. Like, how long do you think it would take for the Enugu Air to start operation?
Not too long. Not too long. Once they comply with the processes, okay. You have once they comply with ISO, that is a safety.
Protocols.
Protocols and things like that. So you expect them to.
Like, are you saying like maybe 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? Like, what's your estimation?
It depends on the regulatory body. It depends on NCAA. Depends on when NCAA is when they certify the protocols, the processes. Once they do that, they will. Government will tell you that they are set and that they're flying, and then that becomes that. Once they do that, they'll have their website, which I believe is being done. Okay, and then it depends on them. They'll create their routes. Government will approve their routes. On the rest of, they have experts that is handling this.
Right.
Yes.
All right then.
Thank you,
Mr. Tony. Thank you so much for your time. We truly appreciate.
You're welcome.
All right. Welcome. So that's Tony Wachuku giving us an expert, thinking into what may most likely happen in the next few weeks and the next few months now that we have one already down. What are your thoughts? Can you share your thoughts on the comment section? We'd love to hear from you. Or you could also ask questions as to what you think are the drawbacks, or maybe are maybe the challenges that the government may most likely face. So it does look like it's a done deal. Enugu is going to have its own airline, and for those who are saying it's an elitist, investment, you've heard from the experts. It's not really an elitist, investment. It's something that is for the future, for someone who is who has the capacity to run the airline. And you know what has happened with Cali Air and, of course, Imo Air, that, the governments to try to invest in that, it didn't really see the light of day. But again, let us know what you think in the comment section. We would love to hear from you.